Welcome, welcome. My name is Santa Elza, and I teach fifth grade math and science at Bales Intermediate and Friendswood ISD. Thank you so much for coming today. A little bit about me is I have taught for 7 years. I've taught in third grade and most recently in fifth grade. I have been self contained and I've also been content math and science. I absolutely love collaborating with others, and I'm so grateful that you came to my training today so we can learn together and hopefully walk away with some renewed strategies, some new strategies, a lot of laughs, and some great learning. Thank you for being here. So, what are the instructional priorities in a highly successful classroom? They're engaging, rigorous instruction aligned to state standards that help students comprehend, connect, and communicate content deeply. So, today our session objectives are going to be spark fun in teaching and learning. We are going to bookmark and navigate the Lead Forward playlist and the phone app that Lead Forward offers. And I want you to leave with at least two strategies that you can implement immediately during your STAR review and in your classroom. So these strategies encourage student interaction and dialogue. They actively engage students in learning, and they provide practice without penalty, and they allow educators to observe students' thinking. Right now, you're going to get out your computer and you are going to open a QR reader or the little camera in the corner. Most of you probably have it as a Chrome extension. And you are going to scan this QR code, which will take you directly to the Lead Forward um, website where these instructional strategies that we're going to cover today are located. And once you scan that QR code, you are going to bookmark this website. This website is absolutely incredible. It is free for you to use. You can create an account. You don't have to create an account. And all of these resources are housed here, and you want to be able to get to it quick, convenient, and at any time. You do not want to lose this website. And personally, I think that having the instructional strategies as your bookmark homepage for Lead Forward is the most beneficial. So go ahead and get out your computer. You can also do this from your phone, but in just a second, we're going to download that app on your phone. So if you have a Chromebook or computer with you, go ahead and get that out and scan this code. As soon as you scan that, I prefer to bookmark mine to the bookmark bar. And I just have Lead Forward as my title. You can obviously title anything that your heart desires, and have it super quick for you to link. You can also put it in your bookmarks, tabs, and folders. But go ahead and bookmark that resource. And then we are going to, I'm going to move to the next slide so we can talk about the phone app. Okay. If you are an iPhone user, you are going to scan this first QR code. If you're an Android user, you're going to scan the second QR code. This will take you directly to the app that you can download on your phone. Again, it is a free account. You don't even have to have an account to have the app and utilize it. It is phenomenal. The app with so many resources right in your hands. So you can reference any of these instructional strategies that you would like. When you're doing your planning, you can click through all of them. I do recommend that you also have it on your computer because Lead Forward is amazing and has lots of built-in templates. Again, totally free. Do not have to have an account. And you can click on the templates and customize them. So they typically open in Microsoft Word, and um, while you can view them on your phone, you can't like edit them and be able to print them out for student use and all the great benefits that also having it on your computer allows. So go ahead, scan that. It'll just take a few minutes for you to get that downloaded. And if you need any help, let me know. I'm right here. But while y'all are doing that, I want to use your time efficiently. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the app and then give y'all a few minutes to preview it, play with it. Talk about it with your neighbor because I think it's really exciting. The first time I saw that they had an app, I got very excited, and um, just like our students, we want to click around for a few minutes and really explore before somebody needs our full attention and focus. Okay, so while you're downloading that, not only does it have the professional learning, instructional strategies, but they also have like professional learning built in on here, on the app, where they have like quick checks for understanding that you can utilize right in the moment. You can have it open on your phone. They have those checks for understanding, sentence stems. One of my favorite features of this app, you guys, is that there also is a timer um, built in, and it is super easy to change. You can do it right in the app and prompt your student. So let's say you're doing a turn and talk, right? They're doing the activity. You can set it for 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, we're going to come back together, and I'm going to call on a few students to share, right? You set your 3 minutes, start your timer. You can easily reset it. You're not having to get in and out of the app. But while you're using the app, you can also click on those quick checks that I was just referring to. They have the sentence stems, um, the resources that you can use for, they call them content builders, but the content builders are scaffolds, they're snapshots of the teaks of star. They also have, if you've not utilized this, which I could do a whole separate training on, but I'm sure probably most of you know, that they have the IQ released item analysis tool, where you can view all of the previous star questions by um, cluster, subcluster, student expectation, and you can even click on like the new item types. You can go, I think it goes back 7 or 8 years. Again, the website has all of this great stuff, but the app has it right from your phone. And it is like very user friendly and easy to use. Um, so they have the thinking stems, these instructional strategies. They have a virtual dice. I mean, you guys, there's so many great things about the app. So click on it, have fun for a few minutes, get excited with your neighbor. I'm going to be walking around in case anybody needs my help downloading it. If you have any questions, because there are so many great things on this app, it could be a little bit overwhelming. I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed, because again, I'm here if you need me. You'll have time to play with it later. We're going to stick to the instructional strategies today so we can really be focused on those learning objectives we discussed. But because all of the other stuff is really exciting, go ahead and take a few minutes to click on that. And I'm going to walk around if you need me. Thank you so much, everyone, for downloading that app. It was so fun to hear how excited y'all were. I'm such a nerd, and I get so excited even still after having used this for years because there's just so many great resources right at your fingertips. So for those of you who are visual like me, um, go ahead and click on your app and go to Resources Content Builder. If you're not following along on your phone, no big deal. I have the slides, just so you can correlate when you're looking later. If you'd like to follow along on the app, I'm going to try to point a couple things out for y'all. But what are these instructional strategies? What do they mean? You're going to go to the resource content builders. Then you are going to click on instructional strategies. Here they have an overview. There's the virtual adaptations playlist. So if you are doing any virtual learning, like when we shut down for COVID, they adapted, excuse me, a lot of these instructional strategies to be able to utilize them in the most efficient ways possible virtually. And then they have each of the playlists. So I'm going to go over those real quick with you guys. They're movement and discourse, which this playlist gets students moving and talking with each other about content. Then the second playlist is rehearsal and practice, where you can check students' comprehension through collaborative work and self correction. The third playlist is extending thinking. Engage students in thinking about a topic in multiple ways and justifying their answers. The fourth playlist is learning from mistakes. So, this playlist helps students discover and correct thinking errors and mistakes. And the fifth playlist is our evidence of learning. So, this is where we can collect evidence of students' understanding of their own learning. So, just to dive a little bit deeper into each of these playlists, because they're phenomenal for different reasons and different um, stages of learning. So, movement and discourse is where we get students moving and talking with each other about the content. So, we know learning is activated when students are moving and talking. Movement provides opportunities for learners to become actively engaged and to talk to each other in a variety of group sizes. So, these strategies on this playlist are best used anytime during instruction to activate that social aspect of learning, which is promoting purposeful student discourse, content processing, and comprehension. So, this playlist can be used at any point in your instructional cycle. Rehearsal and practice is that second playlist where we check students' comprehension through collaborative work and self correction. So, learning requires rehearsal and practice. And so, the more we as teachers vary that practice, the more likely kids are to engage in their learning. So, rehearsal and practice allows for collaborative work and also helps learners self correct any misconceptions. Extending thinking. This is where we engage students in thinking about a topic in multiple ways and justifying their answers. So, we all know as teachers that learning requires thinking. So, well designed learning tasks allow kids to think about a topic in multiple ways or think through a topic to arrive at a more complete and justifiable answer or answers. So often learners stop too early in their thinking or in the learning process. So learning from mistakes helps students discover and correct thinking errors and mistakes. So learning is assessed in a variety of ways on high stakes tests. So items will never be repeated on these tests, but the visuals and errors associated with the content will be. So teachers use these items strategically and purposefully to help students discover and correct their mistakes. In this playlist, there are several strategies that are great for still supporting that discourse where we are learning about those misconceptions, those common misconceptions and errors, and having those conversations with students about distractors, um, what we are most likely to do and why, and just taking it to that deeper understanding of what we're doing and the purpose and how we can learn from those common errors when we truly understand what we're doing. And this playlist is great because you're really diving deeper and analyzing topics and questions, and allowing those students to focus with each other on those really intentional analytical pieces. And again, the website provides those thinking stems, the sentence stems, um, great resources for different ways to differentiate. Um, so the learning from mistakes, again, it really could be used any point in your learning cycle. However, um, I, because there are those common misconceptions, I do suggest that you don't introduce it too early when you're introducing new topics. So this is great after they've had some guided practice, they've had that explore. These activities support, again, that um, analytical piece where they can dive deeper. And the final playlist is our evidence of learning. So, to collect evidence of students' understanding of their own learning. So, learning is best assessed in multiple measures. So, tests, products, discourse, and other formative and summative assessment methods. So, when students describe their own learning strengths and areas for growth, they're more willing to commit to additional learning. So, this playlist supports um, that growth and that student understanding of their own learning through evidence. There are so many great resources available on Lead Forward in these instructional strategies, but I know I can acknowledge that looking at all of them can feel a little overwhelming at times. So today, while you absolutely will be able to read through all of them if you would like, and you choose the ones that work best for you, the ones that excite you, because we want to be engaged and excited teaching in our classroom as well as we want our students to be engaged and excited. So, if it's going to fill you up, it is likely going to fill your students up. And I'm going to highlight just a few of the instructional strategies that I return to time and time again. They're fun, they're meaningful, and it might give you a great place to start. So, the very first strategy that I wanted to share with you all is Ball Toss Boogie. It is on the very first playlist, Movement and Discourse. And this strategy is phenomenal for any point in your unit. You can ask students a question, a concept. Um, it gives students the opportunity to share whole group if you would like. If you're, everybody can participate in this. And the floor really is with whoever has the ball. So if you're not able to do it whole group, I would recommend maybe splitting your class like in groups of like 5 to 8, where everyone in that group has the opportunity to speak and to share. Um, but again, you can do a whole group with your whole class as well. Typically, the first couple times that I do this with my class, I do it whole group. It's also great, y'all, for morning meetings and those social connections too, especially when you come back from a holiday or something like that, where you want to give them the opportunity to tell all of their classmates something really exciting. But instructionally, for content, I find a lot of value in it because, again, it gives everyone the chance to speak. They're It's a fun way where they're moving, the conversation is flowing, and they're quick answers. So I just threw out a fun teacher prompt so we could practice. So make a statement that says, I'm a teacher, without saying I'm a teacher. So, how you facilitate ball toss boogie is someone starts with the ball. So, right now I have the ball in my hand. I'm going to kick us off. I'm going to make a statement that says, I'm a teacher without saying I'm a teacher. Then I toss the ball gently to another person in our circle, and it's their turn to share to make a statement. They, in turn, will pass that ball, toss it to another person in the circle. You only pass the ball to someone who has not yet shared. Okay. So that's what gives everyone the opportunity. Everyone, because they don't know if they are going to get the ball at that time, everyone should be paying attention to the speaker because that speaker might very well toss it to them next and then they're on deck. So the kids love it. It's fun. It doesn't get too rowdy. You guys see that this is a foam, like small dodgeball. And it really does, again, apply any point in learning to any topic and really give that opportunity to share. So we're going to go ahead and try it. And then if you guys have any questions, please let me know right now before we start tossing. We'll come back at the end and kind of debrief and see if it's something that you would like to use in your room. And um, I have sticky notes. So if you guys have those great ideas that pop in your head, you can write them down for specific units or lessons that immediately come to mind, or ways that you might want to utilize this in your classroom. You can jot those down before we move on and I share the next instructional strategy with you. So I'm going to make a statement that says, I'm a teacher without saying I'm a teacher, and pass the ball. Is everybody ready? Another instructional strategy from the Movement and Discourse playlist is fan favorite. This is absolutely one of my favorites because, again, you can absolutely apply it to anything. The kids love it. It creates amazing conversation and it just hits so many things. I could go on and on, but let me tell you a little bit about it first. So, the purpose of fan favorite, again, it's that movement and discourse playlist. So, you can choose 4 different items. So, these could be vocabulary words, visuals, assessment items, skills, um, word problems, questions, models, all of the things. Okay. So, whatever content you are assessing using this instructional strategy with, you would apply 4 different pieces of examples, models, visuals as your fan favorites. Okay. So, you are going to organize your students into groups and you are going to present those students with the 4 options. Okay, so for this example, again, I wanted it to be fun and relevant to what we're doing. I chose 4 fictional teachers. Okay, so you would present the 4 options. So, again, in this example, there are 4 different fictional teachers and you ask opinion questions in different fan favorite rounds. So, for example, stand up, hand up if you are a fan favorite of Mr. Feeney as the one you know best. Stand up, hand up if you are a fan favorite of Mr. Feeney as the most important. Stand up, hand up if you are a fan favorite of Ms. Honey because she is the kindest, right? You could also do stand up, hand up if you are not a fan favorite of Miss Honey because, well, actually, no, because you can give an example, okay? Um, or because you think that's the most confusing, right? So kids today would probably know who Miss Honey is, but they're not going to know who Mr. Feeney is, probably. This gives that discourse, right? So not only fan favorite, but also not a fan favorite. And you are going to give them the opportunity to talk about it. So Miss Honey is my fan favorite as the one that is most important because, and then they each get the opportunity, if you call on them or if it is their turn to share, the opportunity to justify why they chose that fan favorite. And you can provide them sentence stems. So Miss Honey is my fan favorite as the one that is most important because she was an extremely caring teacher who made her students and others around her feel important and valued, right? So that is creating that conversation and discourse of who the favorite or what the favorite is, why, and then also giving the opportunity for the person next to them to say, first off, respectfully, if they disagree who their fan favorite was, they can agree with them and say, absolutely. I also chose Miss Honey as my fan favorite, as the one who is most important because, and they can add to that. So maybe the next person says that I chose Miss Honey as my fan favorite because, yes, she made people feel very valued, but she was a great listener. She cared about Matilda and saw her and her strengths and attributes when the people in her home did not, right? So it gives that opportunity to agree, but also to add on. And then, of course, you have differences, right? And so someone might say, for example, not to switch gears too badly here, but in math, my absolute favorite way to solve, I tell my students, is a number line. Years ago, that was a huge opportunity for our campus. Um, and so in third grade, kids typically love their teacher. And when you say it's your favorite, that becomes important to them. So I took that stance. First off, I do love number line. So it was not being dishonest, but I use that relationship connection with my students to say, this is my favorite because, and I love an open number line, right? It helps. The reason I love an open number line is it helps me organize my thinking while showing my work, but I don't need to, sh- I can not skip steps, but I can organize my thinking in a way that is logical to me and keep me organized while solving my equation, right? So the person next to me can say, that is not my favorite fan favorite because I'm most unfamiliar with the number line, or that one is the hardest to me. And then maybe that person and I have a connection where I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to help you or show you if you're interested. So you're also creating those relationships with your students. And some of them will, even now I'm teaching fifth grade, and they are like, oh, we know Miss Elza's favorite way to solve is a number line, and they still remember that because, again, when they're third graders, they care about their teacher, they want to have those conversations. But sometimes they would say, I hate a number line because I don't like to put all the little hash marks, the tick marks. And I'm like, well, I love an open number line because I also hate putting all of the hash marks, right? And so having that conversation and discourse is so important for students and gives them the opportunity to connect with others and to look at things in a way that they might not have looked at it before, right? Really analyzing something in a new light or reinforcing what they're already doing as well, which is extremely powerful. So there's a million different ways that you can utilize fan favorites in your any unit that you're teaching and any content, and you can really make it as short as you would like of only doing one round, or you can do multiple rounds to really expand on what the whatever you're trying to communicate to them, right? Whatever your wherever you are in the unit, and supporting that learning through using fan favorites. So absolutely love this one. It is a go-to. Again, does not matter what content. And it's also, again, fun, just like I used it for these fictional teachers. You also can put something fun for a morning meeting, that social emotional connection as well, and finding out more about your students and giving them the opportunity to have that movement and discourse with each other. So I hope you try this one. But again, it's just one example of many. And so if you have any questions, please let me know. Another must use strategy, in my opinion, on the instructional strategy playlist for movement and discourse, that first one is think and throw. My students love this strategy every single year. They ask all throughout the year to do it over and over. It never gets old. It's basically like a snowball fight with paper. Super easy. You have students that could be um, adverse to wanting to show work and answer questions at times. And I swear the think and throw works every time, where those same students are flying through these problems, participating, smiling, and enjoying what they're doing just because they are moving around. They're getting to throw paper. So you are solving a problem. The way I love to use it in math is I use a, I always started off with a Freyer model. And so, like, in place value is typically our first unit in math of the year. So I might put the number, excuse me, I might put the number in the middle of the Freyer model in standard number form. And then on each of the corners of the Freyer model, I'll have word form, expanded notation, and I can't think of the last one. Oh, I'm sorry, a pictorial model. I knew I would know that. A pictorial model. And so they have the label of what that is. So just like I had to recall what would go in those boxes, the students don't have to recall. They just look and see what's missing off of that Freyer model. Okay. So they all start with a number. And depending on my class, sometimes I have them create their own number in the middle of the Freyer model in standard form. And other times I already have the number generated and I give them with the standard form already filled in. Okay. So again, differentiation depends on your class and your students and what they need at the time. But they crumple up the paper, and so everybody starts with one. Excuse me. Let me go back. Um, they get to choose which way, which other form they would like to represent that number. So let's say I have the number 837. and I would like to represent that number in pictorial form. So I'm going to draw my base 10 blocks, my 837 in base 10 blocks. I'm going to crumple up my paper like a snowball, and I'm going to throw the paper when the teacher says 1, 2, 3, throw, because we all throw them at the same time instead of the sporadic, random paper flying. And then you pick up a new piece of paper and you fill in a model that has not been a part of the Frayer model that has not been filled in yet. So the paper I pick up does not have word form. Okay, so then I would fill in word form. I always challenge my students, which again, you cannot like micromanage and control if they do it. And if they don't accept the quote unquote challenge, that's okay too. You just want them practicing and building their confidence. But I challenge them on their Frayer model to do a representation that they have not yet done. So if the paper that I pick up does not have pictorial model, I just did pictorial model. So the challenge would be that I would choose a different section of that Frayer model um, if that section is still empty. Okay. So again, it's a challenge because we can't require it's for the classroom management piece. You can't say, oh, little Susie already did a pictorial model. She's done. She can't do that. Or, so again, you want to challenge them to represent all the different ways that they know and are able to represent that number. But still by building confidence and having that conversation and discourse. So will we do that like 3 times till all the parts of the model are complete, and then everybody has a different number each time. So it's also challenging them to look at different numbers and represent it in different ways. Now, little Susie might have written her expanded notation incorrect. That creates the perfect opportunity when someone notices that that is incorrect. They can fix it on the model, and no one knows that Susie is the one that wrote it. Okay, so this is not a time that we're collecting like hard data of Susie doesn't know expanded notation. However, you can take notes like when you're walking around and say that you saw her write it incorrect. Absolutely. But Billy Bob over there that picked up the piece of paper has no idea who wrote that form incorrect. So it's a nice safe space for the students to practice, to be able to correct others' mistakes on their paper if they see them without that like risk of penalty. It's not a grade, it's practice. And also without that um, embarrassment factor of so and so is the one that wrote this. No one knows. The papers are going everywhere. So it creates that like safe space for the students to really just try. And sometimes that's like the most we can ask for is especially depending on your group of students is to really build that confidence and try like mistakes. Learning happens with mistakes, right? And so it provides that opportunity for us to talk about those common misconceptions. We can help identify learning gaps, all of the great things. And it's a safe space for these students to have that discourse. Again, they're still moving around. It's fun. Like they think they're having a snowball fight with paper. And we can collect that information as well and just provide the opportunity for practice and feedback. Love, love, love this one. And you can use it the beginning of unit, middle, end, all of the things review, and you can use it in so many different ways. If you are an ELA teacher, I mean, I I'm sitting here thinking of a million different ways that you can use that too. The Freyer model is just such an easy way to explain it for math. But again, you can use it in every content and in any point in your learning. And the kids love, love, love it. And also, one of the things that I love about Lead Forward is not only do they give you the directions for all of these instructional strategies, um, but they also give you classroom management tips, differentiation, and then they have the um, think it up questions. Excuse me. Um, linked. And if there are any templates, those are also linked on the instructions. And then more recently, they've started embedding little videos, like see it in action. Not all of the strategies have videos, and not all of the strategies have templates that go with it, but it's great because um, they do have it on several. And so if it is something that is flexible and has that opportunity, they're all editable. So you can click on it um and it's right there on on the directions. So absolutely love it. And um I hope that you try this one and that your students love it as much as my students. And it's one of those great ones to have in your pocket at any point in time to just get them up and moving, but not have that break in um, instructional minutes. So hopefully it's a good little brain break that you can sneak in as well. Thank you so much for attending my Lead Forward Reboot Your Playlist training today. So, again, our session objectives were to spark fun in teaching and learning. We bookmarked and navigated the Lead Forward playlist and the app. And I would love for you guys to grab one of those sticky notes and write down at least two strategies, maybe the ones I covered, maybe the ones that you explored when you were clicking around, that you would like to implement either during your star review or immediately in your classroom. The best time is right now. While you're excited about it, these instructional strategies are high yield, low prep. They are hopefully going to change the way you run your classroom with engaging material that helps those students comprehend, connect, and really communicate that content deeply, with offering you that valuable feedback and use of your instructional minutes to be able to move around the room, listen to your students, hear their excitement and fun that they're having with these concepts that you are teaching them, and give you the opportunity to hear that valuable conversation as well, so you can help immediately um, re redirect any misconceptions or misunderstandings, or you can make that note and address it after in those one-on-one or small group conversations if needed. So, giving your students meaningful ways to connect with their learning, with your teaching, and also be able to have that feedback for you to see that learning in action, to see those connections being made, to hear their thinking when they're analyzing and justifying, when they're extending that thinking, is just truly such a gift to not only your students, but to you as a teacher, to give you that valuable time that you can listen and assess um, that thinking that they're having with each other and gather that informal data on them, um, to be able to just continue to impact and um, their learning and growth in your classroom. So, all that being said, I hope this was beneficial to you. Please, I love feedback. Any feedback that you have for me on how to strengthen my own practices on helping you become a learner, and anything that I can do to support you further, or that you feel like was really beneficial, or could have left that out. I absolutely can't wait to hear all of that feedback from you as well. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon. And again, thank you so much for coming and learning with me. And I hope that you are walking away with some valuable insight and new strategies or renewed strategies that you can use right now in your classroom.